In light of National Infertility Awareness Week next week, all week long, I am sharing little tidbits with you about my story and things that maybe I would have thought a little bit more about, and hopefully I can give you some tips of advice about to help you, whether you're brand new in your struggle with infertility or you're a veteran. You've been kind of dealing with this gig for quite some time. So yesterday, I talked to you about understanding your expectations about having a baby and what having a baby means to your life and your relationship. Today, I want to talk to you about how far are you willing to go to have a baby. So for those that don't know me, my name is Shannon Wooten. I am a lifestyle infertility coach. I help women who feel disconnected from their bodies heal by owning infertility sucks, you don't. So I would not change what we did, but I would change how we did it. And today I want to talk to you about what I would do if me and my husband were to do it all again. From our initial phase of finding out that we were struggling with infertility, what 5 things I recommend you to do and consider if you are finding out that you're struggling with infertility. So number 1 I would recommend is get a second opinion. When we found out that we were struggling with infertility, I went with the doctor that said, hey, I think everything that you're describing sounds like severe endometriosis, not bowel disorder. You probably should have some laparoscopy and let's move forward. That's what I did. I was like, okay. Like I said, I was Bob the Builder. Can we fix it? Yes, we can. And I just went straight into it without ever thinking about, should I consult somebody else? Should I get a second opinion and see what they have to say? Instead, I dived straight in, right into surgery, right into infertility drugs, and it really wasn't that great of an idea. And looking back on that now, like I always say, hindsight's 20/20, but I would recommend getting a second opinion. Number 1. Number 2 is find which route is more comfortable for you. So whether you're a Western medicine type of person and you feel more comfortable going to a doctor like we did, that's going to suggest, hey, let's try surgery, hey, let's try infertility drugs, that's great. Or if you feel more comfortable with a mind, body, and spirit approach, less invasive, less using drugs to help get you pregnant, and try a more holistic approach like acupuncture and Reiki and chakra healings and changing your diet, figure out which method seems more comfortable to you. Don't just dive in when someone says, hey, I have a solution for you if you feel uncomfortable with it. Figure out number 2, what's gonna make you more comfortable and go forward with that. So that requires research. Number 3, that kind of goes with number 2, is select a doctor, if you're going Western medicine approach, or a practitioner, more holistic approach, that's aligned with your views of how to get you pregnant. One of the worst things that I did in our struggle was I just jumped in, like I said. And secondly, I didn't really like my first doctor. I should have listened to that. That was something that was telling me something in my gut. I'm not aligned with this guy. I'm not aligned with what he's saying to me. But it was somebody that was like, I have a solution for you. This could work. And instead of listening to my gut, I listened to them. So I suggest getting comfortable with a doctor or a practitioner that is aligned with your views of how you want to move forward, also speaks to you in a way that you can understand, and is even somebody that maybe you could joke with or laugh with about, and explains things to you that are more in your language, in your dialogue, and go with that. Go with what's comfortable. And that also bleeds into number 4, which is never proceed if you feel unsure. I didn't listen to myself. I was so petrified of someone saying to me, you, my friend, are struggling with symptoms related to infertility. We've done the surgery now. Here are all the issues that you have. Here's how we're going to proceed. That I was not listening to that guttural reaction that was saying, this doesn't feel right. Something feels wrong. I was more focused on, referencing the video from yesterday, my expectation. My expectation was, get pregnant, have a baby, move on, not how do I feel about this? Does this make me feel comfortable or uncomfortable? And also in alignment with that, if you feel uncomfortable, do not go forward with something that maybe your spouse is not in agreement with. That is something that I own as well. I was so hyper focused on the expectation of have a baby, get pregnant, move on, that I was not even consulting my partner. I was just cutting my body open, taking loads of drugs, and saying, you're coming along with me whether you like it or not. That is not good for the overall experience. So number 4, make sure that you're listening to your gut and what makes you feel comfortable, as well as consulting the partner involved in this situation and saying, hey, are you comfortable with this too? Are you in agreement with moving forward? And number 5, my last super hyper important point may seem kind of like a no-brainer to you, but it wasn't to me in the moment. And number 5 is ask all the questions. Even if it feels stupid, inane, repetitive, who cares? If it's your first time at the infertility rodeo, ask all the questions. How is this going to affect me? Was number 1 question I did not ask. Now, again, hindsight's 2020, looking back on it, I now realize that my hair falling out is not only a byproduct of the stress that I was going through in doing everything I could to get pregnant, but also that I was on steroids. I barely take Tylenol and Advil other than being on a period to take them, but then I was injecting all of these fertility meds and my hair was falling out. I developed something called pregnancy mask where my skin became discolored, and you can still see it. I'm gonna move closer. From here to here, there's a clear discoloration on my skin. I developed something called pregnancy mask from taking fertility hormones. And I'm not saying this to scare you, I'm saying it because I did not know that. I did not know to ask the question, hey, how can steroids affect my body? Hey, how is progesterone going to affect my body? Hey, is this going to cause a lot of stress on me? Am I going to feel anxious a lot of the time? Is it going to make my hair fall out? Is it going to make my skin discolor? What can I be prepared for? And I know some people may combat that and say, well, you could read the little prescription drug label that comes on your drug. Listen, I was not in a place where I was trying to be a scientist or a doctor. I was hoping that my doctor was going to doctor me. They were going to lead me. And I realize that may seem like a lot of pressure to lay on them, but that's your doctor. And I just didn't know to ask these questions, number 1. Number 2, I also wasn't aware of the effect of my bank account that it was going to have on my financial situation. My husband and I depleted thousands of dollars going through this process because we really didn't ask the questions. We really didn't understand about how our insurance was going to or wasn't going to pay out. So there are a lot of things involved with infertility that you may not know. And there may be some books that you can read or some prescription labels that you can read or websites that you can go to, but the doctor is there for a reason. And if you need to be in their office for an undue specified amount of time, that's what they're there for. That's what you're paying them for. Ask all the questions. So I'm not telling you not to try, right? I'm not saying don't go through whatever route feels comfortable for you. I'm not saying don't just jump in. I highly believe in jumping in if you feel it feels right. But what I'm saying is make sure that your expectation is not overriding your willingness to become pregnant. Make sure you're taking care of yourself during this process as well as your partner. Ask all the questions and don't feel like this is pressed for time. You got to do this now. You're going to expire. And I know some people may say, well, after a certain age, this, that, and the other thing. Consult your doctor. And if they're a doctor that feels aligned with you and you feel comfortable with, they will not mind talking to you about these things. So I'm encouraging you to be aware of how much you're willing to give to this process before you jump in. I'm encouraging you to ask all the questions, allow yourself some grace and some patience in getting through this and making informed decisions and listening to your gut and doing all of that in a method that's right for you. So yes, I would not change what we did to go forward and try to have a baby. But I 100% most assuredly would change how we did it. And as I say in all of my videos, take that moment of pause when you're feeling like you're getting ahead of yourself. There's a reason for that. Listen to your emotions, listen to your gut, and allow yourself the ability to say, something doesn't feel right, I'm gonna slow down here. So thank you guys as always for signing on. If you like this video, throw me some hearts, throw me some love. At least I know somebody's listening. And if you like it, I'm so appreciative of it because my heart is already with you. Do not feel pressured in your process. Do not feel like you suck. Infertility sucks. And that's 100% the truth. Hop on over to Life with Shannon. Send me some messages if there's something that you want to have a dialogue about or have a conversation about. I love taking the lead from you. And as always, be easy. Have a great week. Be good to yourself. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Won't end.